Iron Fist Season 2. So as many of you probably know, the first season of Iron Fist does not have the best reputation. I was looking forward to this season just because Marvel has a reputation of learning from their mistakes. And although Danny Rand was not a very good character in the first season, he improved a lot in The Defenders, so I thought that he would improve more in this season as well. As per usual, I'll try not to spoil too much, but I will give away minor things just because I'm talking about, what's basically a 10-hour movie. So as for the plot, Davos is back and he's teaming up with Joy to try to get the Iron Fist. And they hire Typhoid Mary from the comics to investigate Danny. Meanwhile, Danny and Colleen are trying to live a quiet life after the incident with the hand. However, Danny did promise Matt Murdock that he would protect his city, and so Danny's trying to stop a war between rival gangs. Now, Colleen finds a chest that may have belonged to her mother, who she knows very little about. Now, some of these plots pay off, some of them don't. Davos' story arc is good. We see him become obsessed with power and lose himself to power. And the conflict between Danny and Davos is well done, and the actors do a good job. However, the gang war storyline just kind of disappears halfway through the season. It had potential to be interesting, but really wasn't. The storyline about Colleen trying to find her mother is prominent in the first episode or two, but then doesn't really show up again until the end of the season. And then there's some conflict between Danny and Colleen, but it's not really executed well. Now let's talk about the characters. Danny evolved in a good way over the season. He's much more likable than in Season 1, but he's still not a great character. We see him questioning who he is and what his role is, both as Danny Rand and as the Iron Fist. Colleen Wing is not a very interesting character. The actress is decent in the role, she just doesn't really have a character arc. Now, Ward Meacham was one of the standouts from Season 1. He was much more of a complex character than Danny was. In this season, he's still complex, but he's a lot less likable. He'll do some kind of cool stuff every now and then, but he acts like a douche a lot of the time. Joy Meacham is eh. She has an interesting kind of redemption story arc throughout the season, but still isn't a great character. Davos was a good villain. We understood his motivation, and the actor was good in the role. We see a man who had everything he ever wanted taken away from him and is searching for a purpose. The real standout of this season is Mary Walker. I never thought of Carol Marcus from Star Trek Into Darkness as a mercenary. Alice Eve goes back and forth between the ditzy city girl to the cold-hearted mercenary flawlessly. The only bad thing about her character is that there's an interesting character arc kind of set up, but it doesn't go anywhere. Minor spoilers here. They hint that Bloody Mary from the comics might exist, but it never comes up again. As for the theme, this season deals a lot with identity. Danny questions whether or not he's worthy of holding the fist, and if he has a grand destiny awaiting him, or if he's just another human being. Ward realizes that he's always seen himself in comparison to others, and learns to live independently. And Mary realizes that her and Walker can get along. Davos believes that he's destined for some higher purpose, only to have that purpose passed to someone else. See, this show is not as thematically deep as Daredevil or Jessica Jones is, and that's really what drags it down. I feel like there's a lot of potential for some really good thematic stuff here, like establishing concepts like identity and purpose and role in the world, but it just doesn't go anywhere. So all in all, there are things in the season that I like. The villain is good, and the fight scenes are a lot better than in the first season. Also, all of the acting is good. However, it suffers from unlikable characters, an incoherent story, and a lack of thematic depth. It's an improvement over the first season, but still isn't great. I think I'd probably put it about on par with the second season of Luke Cage, and maybe The Defenders. So yeah, be sure to